I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world, above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Ooh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn.
Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help, but no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for.
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT Post-Show Rewind. It is June the 10th, 2025. I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, here always with little Molly Holly, the long-haired chihuahua. Y'all, it is good to be back and good to have a voice again. It's still a little raspy there. The air quality here in parts unknown Ohio is kind of assy at the moment due to smoke from the wildfires blowing down from Canada. Shout out to CJ. Thanks for the wildfires, brother. But yeah, it is good to be back, guys. We have a lot to talk about tonight, a lot going down on NXT, and Molly and I are thrilled to be here and talking about it, guys. But before we can really get into it and get into all of the nitty-gritty and all of the goings-on of the developmental brand, we do have to give that ever-important shout-out to the us on the web. That is dirtsheetradio.com for all your pop culture, professional wrestling, entertainment needs. Check it out. Make it your homepage. Look at it multiple times a day, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated, but because we love to do it. Oh, thank you, Molly. That was sweet. Molly May, as she wants to be called tonight, because no one's using that name now. We'll talk about that here as we go on. The official name change for Mariah May is in tonight, and we'll get there. I don't want to jump the gun too much, but but guys, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Coming hot off the heels of Worlds Collide over the weekend, which if you didn't watch it, check it out. I have to say, like, I don't get to watch as varied of wrestling as I'd like to sometimes, and I saw some new faces at Worlds Collide that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I absolutely now adore Mr. Iguana, as it would be. So it was a fun weekend with that, but let's get into tonight's show. We had several matches advertised going into the program this evening. The main event, of course, to be Jasper Troy getting a NXT title shot at the Ruler, Obafemi. We also, in another title match, we had Shawn Legacy getting his one title shot against Ethan Page that he won the right to several weeks ago, but Ethan had to, of course, get all of his stuff with Ricky settled and done away. And then also in tag action, we had advertised the Learning Bush, or the Calling, as they actually are called. Niko, Vance, and Shawn Spears taking on Briggs and Inamura. And just a few matches there advertised, but 2 title matches, so pretty pretty good pretty good pre-announced card, coming off of, I don't want to really say a PLE, but a big mega show for him over the weekend. But so tonight's show opened with a quick recap of some of the events of last week. Trick Williams defending his TNA championship against Mike Santana. And then we got the typical montage of everyone walking in to the building. Now, the typical montage of everyone walking into the building this week was not quite as typical as it typically is. Yeah. The world's most dangerous parking lot, the most dangerous space in all of professional wrestling, the NXT parking lot at the Performance Center. And it came true here again tonight. The Ruler, Obafemi, getting jumped by LFG winner Jasper Troy. As I mentioned, they were to be in the main event tonight. He puts Oba through a windshield. And this immediately, and for a good portion of the night, put into question whether or not the Ruler would be capable of defending his championship in tonight's main event. Now, moving from there, from the world's most dangerous parking lot, we went into the Performance Center proper, where we had All Ego Ethan Page making his way to the ring to defend his North American Championship. As I said, against Shawn Legacy of Evolve. I know that I've got my detractors here. I'm going to pop back to Ego. I've got my detractors. I like his entrance theme. I'm not a Def Rebel guy. I've gone on record saying often how much I dislike Def Rebel en masse, but I like Ego Page, or sorry, all Ego Ethan Page's theme here. It fits him. It's actually kind of catchy. I kind of found myself humming it for about 20 minutes or so after I hear it every single time, but I digress. But Shawn Legacy made his way out to the ring, got a pretty good pop from the crowd, guys, if you're not checking out Evolve, I guess there's so much wrestling. I know, but it's solid, guys. It's a solid program every week on Wednesday on Tubi, internationally on YouTube. But yeah, they were off to the races here pretty quickly. Solid ring work here. I wasn't. Here's the thing. I feel like the JC Jane win a couple weeks ago has really put everyone on edge when pertaining to NXT championship matches. Now it's kind of that feeling of they did that. Anybody can win at any time, and I'm feeling that a lot here. So there was a little just fraction of thought that Shawn Legacy could win here, but I didn't particularly think that was a major possibility. But my goodness, anything is possible here. But when it was all said and done, all ego Ethan Page victorious here tonight, retaining that championship. Ethan Page maintaining over the weekend after his victory at Worlds Collide that he is now, in fact, North America, the entire continent, all of it. He represents us all, guys. He is the North American champion, Mexican-Canadian American, That's he is every one of us, as it is. But yeah, so good match here. I imagine that we'll probably see a bit more of Shawn legacy moving forward here on NXT proper, because he had a good showing here tonight. His excuse me, his matches that he's had on NXT have all been of quality, and I feel like Evolve is pretty much going to be the proving ground for NXT now. So I'm assuming that Dante Chen is going to go gatekeep Evolve at this point, since he can't gatekeep Level Up any longer. But yeah, so after the match, though, it wasn't all over here after Ethan Page got his win here. He was attacked by Ricky Saints. So clearly, it's not all over between Ricky and Ethan here. The blood feud rolls on. So they're clearly trying to get a little more juice out of that lime, as it would be. But all right, moving on backstage, we had Ava speaking with Fatal Influence, which of course contains the NXT Women's Champion, Jacy Jayne. Again, making everyone think that anyone can win at any time. And while she was talking there with Ava, she was approached. Actually, she kind of like pushed her way into the room here pretty forcibly. Lainey Reed. And for those of you that are longtime viewers here and may have watched CJ and I on our Level Up adventure, you've heard Lainey Reed's name before. And obviously, she's been on NXT proper here a couple times as well. But she had a lot of matches and a lot of action on Level Up. And yeah, she's they're giving her some shine here, and she's running with it. I'll say that she performed pretty well here tonight, and in this segment, she ends up slapping Jacy Jayne a couple times. And Jacy says that she wants a match with Lainey, and she will put her title on the line tonight. So hey, that's another title match that we had on the docket now here tonight. So later tonight we would have Lainey Reed getting a championship opportunity against Jacy Jayne. So yeah, pretty cool there. Again, like she's. I need to see a little more character development with her here. So far, I know that she is quick-tempered, brash, we'll say, and from the South. I mean, hey, that sometimes that's all you need. You can build from there, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes as she progresses here through NXT and how tonight went for her as well. Coming back from commercial, I don't have a picture here for this. Unfortunately, I do apologize, guys. But we had a TikTok video. Guess we're also doing angles on TikTok now. I'm old and I don't really see TikTok. So, yeah, I guess thank you NXT for showing me this, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen it. But yeah, so TikTok bit here. Sol Ruca and Zarya were hanging out in the locker room when they were approached by Lash Legend and Kalani Jordan, and there ended up being a bickering and a fight, and kind of a little bit of setup for. Well, not really a setup for later tonight, because Lash didn't involve for. I don't know. It was a segment that happened. Sometimes that is. Like, I appreciate that they get everyone on TV. This was the only time we saw the women's North American champion, Sol Ruca, and Zarya on TV tonight. So they got on TV with this. So it served its purpose, I guess, then. But hey, let's pop into a quick vignette that happened right before the match. We had the information bush, or again, the culling, as they are actually called. Here in this instance, Niko, Vance, Izzy Dame, and of course their leader, Shawn Spears. Last week, Izzy Dame laid Brooks Jensen out with a chair. And in this segment, Izzy explained that she saw Brooks as weak and he needed to be cut down and taken out of the group. She said that they are the calling, and yeah, they prune the weak and destroy the vulnerable. I'm not really sure. It's something along those lines. I know I'm mixing this up a little bit here, but it was heelish, and she basically says if you're weak, you're going to get cut down. So they flat out say here that Brooks Jensen is no longer in the calling. The information bush has been pruned here this evening. Yeah, so Brooks is out. I don't know what's up with that, honestly. I'm gonna have to dig around a little bit. Like, I don't know if they just weren't happy with his performance. If he's hurt, they need him off TV. Um, Again, Brooks Jensen, the son of Bull Buchanan. I want to say that every opportunity I get. But yeah, I'm a little surprised here. But yeah, so the calling down to 2 members. And Izzy said that she saw this, that she saw that he was weak and that they were going to go down the wrong path with him. Shawn Spears asked Izzy if there was anything else that she saw, and she said that she does see something. I find this interesting. They're almost treating her like some sort of soothsayer, like an oracle of sorts. And I don't know if they're doing that in a figurative sense or a literal sense, in that they're actually going to start to imply that Izzy Dame can somehow see the future and see like into the ultimate core and heart of all people or something. They do supernatural stuff. Why not? It was an interesting little segment, but yeah. So the major takeaway though is that Brooks Jensen has been culled from the information bush. But making their way out to the ring from there, we did have the calling, which is again now Shawn Spears, Niko, Vance, and Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame taking point here on the way to the ring, holding the chair and even standing to the front and coming out first, which I find interesting. Maybe at some point she's going to try to usurp Shawn Spears and kind of, take his own cult away from him. Which, Izzy's doing a good job here with this character. I have been critical of Izzy Dame both in and outside the ring, but this is really starting to click for her. And she's not the greatest wrestler, but she's getting good at this character. And we're back in a time frame where there is plenty of room for managers and factions. God, Hunter loves his factions, and so does Shawn. So this could be a really good role for her going forward, both in NXT and eventually on the main roster. She's good at this so far, and I look forward to seeing what they do with the calling or the information push, which is crazy because I'm not a Shawn Spears dude either. And, I'm really interested in something that involves Shawn Spears. So, good job, NXT, making me care for acts that I thought I'd never care about. But, yeah, so the calling gets into the ring, and then out comes the newly reunited tag team of Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura, happy and pleased as punch to be going into the ring to resort to some fisticuffs. My goodness, Josh Briggs apparently, buying some pants from Kevin Nash's garage sale there, but far be it from me to be judgmental of people's gear, I guess. I mean, I dress, like a dime store Mick Foley, so there's that. What are you going to do, right? Oh, goodness gracious. But we had a pretty solid tag match here. I think part of the story being that Yoshiki Inamura's pride, his confidence, is hurt because he left for Japan after a sad loss. Their repeated losses really with his tag partner Josh Briggs. He left for Japan, came back pretty much immediately, and wanting to start to get those wins back under the belt. That he has big aspirations for them as a team, but you're just not going to get it done against the information bush. The numbers game catches up. Izzy Dame running interference, and Niko Vance actually getting the pin over Josh Briggs here tonight. But yeah, so the calling here win via pinfall. I think it was with the Dominator, actually, if I'm got that right in my notes there. But yeah, good match, and again, this makes sense with the amount of video package time they're putting behind the calling here, and with them, pruning a member, it makes sense. They need to get the win here. They need to actually start to look a little threatening to the roster. So it makes complete sense. And we can further the story of, Josh Briggs trying to help Yoshiki Inamura find his confidence. And, of course, one would wonder, will he help him find his confidence, or will he actually get very frustrated with Inamura's losses and Inamura's constant apologizing, and maybe we get Briggs going solo heel again out of this? It's hard to say. I don't know, because Inamura is definitely a figure that you can get a lot of sympathy on. He's cool. You feel for him. He's got a really good everyman appeal to him for sure. So, but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds there. And we did get a little more from them later tonight backstage. But all right. So from there, we had a quick segment backstage where Obafemi was being checked out in the trainer's room, and we were told that as of now, the match is still on. Also backstage, we had Ava. Given the third degree here to Ricky Saints for again involving himself with Ethan Page. He's still got a bruise on his throat and apparently is still unable to talk. He didn't speak here, just kind of grunted at Ava. But she told him to go home, and she does not want to see him back at NXT until he has been medically cleared to compete. So Ava laying down the law here, the final boss's daughter, she's laying it down, guys. But from there, still sticking backstage, we had Chase U, still feeling the pain of defeat from Dark State there a couple weeks ago, and Andre Chase is trying to get him back on track, and Cale Dixon and fourth generation superstar Uriah Connors were apologizing to Chase for the loss and for getting themselves in over their heads. And he said, you know what? They can fix this, but they're going to have to give 100%. And he tells them they got to get back in class, and they actually have to be on time, and they're going to do things Chase's way, the Andre Chase way. So we'll see. We'll see. So they tried to go the kind of brash frat boy route, and it's not working out for him. They keep getting the ever-loved snot knocked out of him here, and Chase is going to get him on the right path here. So they're going to start getting some victories here. I believe in Andre Chase. Oh, hey Ziggy, yeah, Ziggy also supporter of Chase U. So. But yeah, always glad to get our weekly little Chase U segment in there. From there, we threw to the guys at the announce table to throw to a video package that officially, guys, announced Mariah May's new name in NXT, her new WWE name as it would be. And Mariah May is no more, ladies. You probably would imagine. It's being met with mixed mixed reception. We'll say mixed reception. I personally, if you wanted to go with the last name Monroe, and you're just dead set on changing her name from Mariah May because you want to own it and blah 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 whatever. If you're dead set on it, I feel like Mariah Monroe would have sounded better. It's kind of like with Ricky Saints. I still think that Ricky Saint would have sounded better. But nonetheless, yeah, I think Mariah Monroe would have sounded a little bit better. I like that alliteration. It sounds like a Stan Lee character when you do that. But no, we've got Blake Monroe, and we'll see. A lot of folks are obviously going to be upset by any sort of name change. I over on the Twitter sphere, X, whatever you want to call it, from Sean Rossap, Fightful, he dug out this tweet from years ago, and thinks that this could be a possible inspiration for why she chose that name. Often when they are presented with the name change nowadays, they are given a little bit of leeway in the design and execution of it. But so maybe not. I don't know for sure. Obviously, that is speculation. But yeah, as it is, Mariah May is no more, and Blake Monroe is here in NXT, and the video package that they did, the vignette, I should say, to introduce her, clearly had its inspiration drawn from Sabrina Carpenter. So I say to y'all, you thought Tiffy wanted to be Sabrina. Oh, no. Blake Monroe's taking it to a whole nother level with the inspiration from Sabrina Carpenter. So yeah, and as they did later tonight, they did announce that next week, Blake Monroe will be officially signing her NXT contract. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how it goes, how the reception of it is overall. Obviously, let us know what you guys think. The internet will, I'm sure, be very loud about this as time goes. We'll see. I think folks adapted to Ricky Saints pretty quickly, but that's still pretty close. Blake Monroe's pretty far from Mariah May, but I don't know. There have been worse names. I don't know. I like I said, if you want to change the last name, I would have stuck with Mariah because I like alliteration, but that's the English major in me, y'all. So, hey, but yeah, so that was a segment. It was a pretty quick segment, actually. But yeah, so she'll be live in the house next week. But all right, so from there and back into the PC, we had Lash Legend making her way to the ring ahead of her match with the No Quarter Catch Crew's Ren Sinclair, the ever dwindling No Quarter Catch Crew. Gosh, talk about man, all these groups. They're losing members. The Calling knocking out a member. Miles Bourne leaving the NQCC after beating Charlie. Oh man. Also worth noting during Kalani Jordan versus Ren Sinclair, excuse me, during Lash Legend versus Ren Sinclair, Kalani Jordan was on commentary. So a solid match here. This is one of those ones that I really didn't know who was going to win going into it. They every once in a while they like to have Ren Sinclair pop up with a surprise victory, but that was not what they were doing this evening. As Lash Legend wins the match here. With a sidewalk slam. But all the while staring down and kind of jawing with Kalani. So obviously this was a match for Lash to win to more further her feud with Kalani here. So hello, El Juggalo. Thank you, El Juggalo. Welcome to the show, El Juggalo. But so a quick match too. I'd say probably within squash territory. So not looking good for the NQCC right now. folks. All right, backstage, ahead of the main event, we had Jasper Troy talking about his attack on Obafemi. He was asked if he thought that putting the champ through a windshield was something that he thought would potentially endanger his title shot tonight. And he said, no, it's quite the opposite. He knows that Obafemi is going to defend that championship as long as he is still breathing, and he'll be out there to be defending that championship no matter how banged up he is. So it's a solid roll of the dice from Jasper Troy there. So I can't argue with the logic and reasoning of the LFG winner in that. But okay, from there, back in the Performance Center, we had Lainey Reed making her way to the ring for her championship opportunity against JC Jane. I gotta say, again, not a Def Rebel guy, but Lainey Reed's entrance theme, not bad. Not bad. It fits what I think they're going for with her, which again is kind of that real, rough and tumble, brash country girl, which is similar to what Fallon Henley's face character was, but like I said, that's why I want to see what they're able to do with her character as they go on. She needs some more facets for sure here. But yeah, so the two had a solid back and forth match here. I assumed that JC Jane would not be dropping the championship here. But again, with JC actually winning that a couple weeks ago, it's got everyone, topsy-turvy on how they're feeling about championship matches at NXT. But man, they gave Lainey a lot here. They really did. She got a lot of shine, a lot of offense, a lot of believable near falls here during this match. But Fatal Influence as a whole, being who they are and playing the role they play here, they ensured that JC Jane walked away with that championship here. Like I said, this match was a lot better than I expected it to be, and I do not mean that with any level of disrespect to either JC Jane or Lainey Reed here. But I thought it was going to be a lot shorter than it was, and I didn't expect just the level of athleticism in the match. I thought they just did a really great job here with the time they were given. A great title defense for JC Jane. Again, does kind of establish that JC's wins will mostly be predicated on Fatal Influence helping her out, which is fine. Absolutely fine. It's how she won the championship, so it's understandable that she's going to retain it that way. And I'm sure eventually she'll piss off the other members of Fatal Influence, behaving as though she is, retaining this title on her lonesome week in and week out. But after the match, we had Ava appearing up on the balcony, and I love the use of the balcony, guys. I know I say that pretty much every time they do this, but absolutely love the use of the balcony. But Ava gets up there and she interrupts JC's celebration here. Rude. But she says that, although tonight Fatal Influence made the decision as to who the next number one contender was going to be, that's not really how this is going to go. And Ava will be making that decision. And she said that next week we would have 4 matches. And the winners of those 4 matches will move to a Fatal 4-Way. And the winner of that Fatal 4-Way will face JC Jane at the Evolution PLE. So big news there, and they did announce those matches later tonight. We'll get there when we get there. I don't like to bury the headline and put the horse before the cart, as it would be. But so 4 matches next week. So my goodness, a lot of next week is pretty much booked. Which is awesome. It's going to be a very, very woman heavy NXT next week, which is fantastic because I say this all the time. Um, Match for match, I think that they've got like the best women's division in professional wrestling, and I still feel that way, even with a lot of the main event of the NXT women's division moving up north, kid, to the main roster. So, yeah, a lot of opportunity now for the women at NXT to fill those main roster spots going forward. So they're going to be looking to impress, but. Moving from there into the backstage, we had Briggs and Inamura licking their wounds. And again, Inamura being very, very apologetic. I kind of believe overly so here, which I think may eventually be a catalyst of Josh Briggs getting all pissed off and turning heel on his buddy. But while they were back there, they were angrily and rudely approached by AJ Francis and Casey Navarro, first class of TNA. Um, and yeah, they shared some words here, and First Class said that they were staking a claim for the NXT tag titles. And Yoshiki Inamura, he gets all full of just fire and gusto, and he looks them dead in the face and says that they are annoying, which actually got a little chuckle from me. I like that. I like that he, you think he's going to build up to this just wild barrage of curse words, and he calls them like a dweeb or calls them annoying or something along those lines. I like it. It's a fun little flourish to his character. But yeah, during the segment here, we had Elijah also walk in, and Briggs' face sums that up very well. I don't dislike seeing Elijah make an appearance here, but he went to introduce himself, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we know who you are." Yeah, so more involvement with TNA and NXT. It is interesting the number of TNA talents that are former WWE NXT talents that have kind of made their way back for appearances and matches, but keeps rolling. It's always a good time. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, guys. It really is. But all right, backstage. So kind of backstage, but right before the match or before the entrances, I should say, we had Luca Crusifino, who does not have the trust of Tony D'Angelo. Not at all. Not one iota. He's on the phone, taking a phone call, talking to somebody, says he's going to get it done. He's going to take care of it. Hangs up, right? Hangs up. I say hangs up like people actually hang up a phone anymore. What an antiquated term. Sorry, showing my age. But he ends the call right as Tony D is walking up. And Tony D asked who that was. He said, "Don't worry about it." And he says, "Let's go out there. You can trust me." And Tony will not walk in front of Luca. Will not turn his back on Luca Crusifino, and he makes Luca go out first. And yeah, they make their way to the ring ahead of the break. Coming back from the break, we were in the backstage area, and we finally got the handshake between Charlie Dempsey and Miles Bourne. Apparently, Ren Sinclair talked to Charles, as she calls him, and got him to, understand why Miles did what he did, and got him to patch things up. So, they can be friends still, even though Miles has left the NQCC. And Miles did say that the No Quarter Catch crew helped mold him into the man that he is today. So yeah, looking forward there. And during this, Javon Evans approached, also congratulating his friend Miles Bourne on his victory last week and getting his freedom from the NQCC. And as Javon came up here, they're talking, and Tavion makes it clear that next week he wants his shot. He wants his shot at Charlie and an exit from the NQCC. And Charlie obviously wants no part of this. He doesn't want to lose another member. And Javon's on Tavion's side here. But, Charlie tells Javon that this is none of his business. Why is he even here anyway? And that the NQCC is forever, and they're going to run NXT forever. And then they left. And Ren said that she would talk to Charlie. But yeah, so I mean, it looks like the NQCC is going the way of the dodo. Oh, looks like the NQCC is going the way of the dodo there, guys. And I don't think they are long for this world. Or not this world, I should say, but for NXT. So I mean, I don't know what that would necessarily mean for Ren the most out of the group. I think maybe that she could still kind of loosely be affiliated with Tavion or Miles, but I mean tonight they even made it seem like Miles was not really going to be teaming with Tavion going forward. He's going singles purely by himself. Charlie's going to be Charlie. He's going to be a heel, but it looks like they're moving the NQCC into the was category. We'll find out. But before the start of the next match, we showed in the crowd, guys. We had some of the AAA stars in the audience again tonight, and man, the pop that they got. I'd like to say that it was all for Dr. Wagner Jr., but I think that Mr. Iguana has captured the hearts of many after Worlds Collide this weekend. I know he did for me, and I mean, I posted this on Facebook as well, but I already ordered the shirt. Like my Mr. Iguana shirt is forthcoming. I was hoping it was going to be here by today, but probably a lot of demand for that bad boy at this point. I do imagine, but yeah, so they were shown in the crowd before the match got started here, and then we had the High Rise, Tyriek and Tyson make their way out with Wes Lee. Solid tag match here, but the story of the match really being more about Luca Crusifino and the former Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo. During the match, we had Stacks run down and attempt to interfere. The referee watched this happen. I don't really understand why this wasn't a instant disqualification. I understand that Stacks didn't actually get a hit off, no pun intended there, on Tony, but he tried and he was in the ring and he got tossed into the ring and then tossed out of the ring, dropped a damn crowbar in the process, but no bell. Match continued. Sure, why not, right? And as Tony turned back around after watching Stacks run out, he did see that Luca had picked up the crowbar, and Luca, it's not what it looks like, Tony. You can trust me. But this distraction led to Tony taking a beating, and then the pin, and Tyson and Oh, sorry guys, I'm having some internet issues. Sorry about that, guys. My internet's being a little wonky here tonight. I do apologize. But Tyson and Tyriek get the win here. So good, good win for High Rise. Obviously, Luca not having Tony's trust, they're not gonna be getting a win, and that's not what they're looking for here. That's not the story or the journey that Tony and Luca are currently on. And honestly, the High Rise needs to start getting those wins. They're Wesley's heavies, and they got to be dominating and seem threatening. So solid work and solid match there. I want to say too, during the match was when they announced that next week Blake Monroe would be signing her contract again. Blake Monroe, going to keep saying it. Blake Monroe. Coming back from the commercial break, we had some plugs for next week's episode. A 6-man tag. We have Elijah and Briggs and Inamura taking on Navarro. I just want to say Top Dollar, guys. AJ Francis and Trick Williams. So again, set up backstage makes sense, solid. And then the 4 women's matches next week to determine the 4 women that will go into that fatal 4-way to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Lash Legend taking on Kalani Jordan. Makes sense. They've been yelling at each other. Zaria and Izzy Dame. Thea Hale and Jada Parker, which again that makes sense as well, furthering their feud and their story, and then Lola Vice taking on Jordan Grace. So all solid matches on the card for next week. I dig that. Looking forward to pretty much all of those. Not not really sure prediction wise, but and then also again, Blake Monroe will be signing her contract, and Bret Hart. Um, I'm going to say it's probably not that Bret Hart because you didn't open your statement or comment with "fuck Bill Goldberg," uh, but Blake Lively and Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, that is also I think a real possibility. But again, as Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful dug out on Twitter. Formerly Mariah, does have a niece named Blake as well. So it's hard to say, really. But yeah, so that's what we've got going on next week. And then for the break there, we had Jasper Troy making his way through the backstage area out for the main event. And Jasper looking like a badass. I will say, the chains look fake. I'm making my guess and my assumption here that those chains are fake. Anybody that's in the performance center, if you could tell us if those things make a sound when they get set down, because they look plastic. I'm a Halloween household here, and they honestly look like the fake Halloween chains that we had on our mailbox for a while. Yeah, they look fake, but nonetheless, after Jasper Troy made his entrance, we had the NXT champion, the Ruler, Obafemi, make his way to the ring, slowly limping, taped up. Really illustrating it there during the entrance that he could not even raise both arms to show off as he typically does there. But this match, again, much like the Laney Reed and JC Jane match, this exceeded my expectations. I wasn't expecting this level of just physicality here. I mean, obviously, Obafemi is Obafemi. The dude looks like $1,000,000 every single time he steps in the ring or picks up a microphone. But this illustrated why Jasper Troy won LFG. I mean, they really let Jasper push Oba to his limit here. Now, granted, Oba was selling the injury and the fight from earlier in the night. Yeah, right. This might be the real Bret Hart, guys. But they let him look good. They let him look strong, and they let him get a lot of offense on Obafemi and over Oba here. I mean, and I don't know if this was a planned spot or not, but he shoved Oba into the corner, and the middle turnbuckle busted off. I've seen the top turnbuckle break. I've seen the bottom turnbuckles break. I'm trying to think if I've seen a middle turnbuckle break quite like that, but pop goes the weasel, and there it went. Yeah, so again, looking real strong here. They brawl to the outside. Oba puts Jasper through the barricade. It really was just strength for strength, power move for power move. And again, Oba was kind of wrestling from behind the eight ball here, kayfabe and storyline wise. He got attacked in the world's most dangerous parking lot, put through the windshield of a car, but was, very determined to have this match. And there were some real believable near falls here tonight, where Oba barely kicked out, and a couple where you really thought they might pull something crazy here and put that title on Jasper Troy. But at the end of the day, after two fall from graces, pop-up power bombs, guys, the Ruler, Obafemi, able to get that 1, 2, 3 here tonight, retaining that NXT championship. Um, yeah, again, guys, just absolute, slobber knocker. As it was, I'll say that for the rest of my life and forever. Thank you, Jim Ross, for putting that into my vocabulary. Just absolute slobber knocker. Great match. Jasper Troy looked like a future star here. I mean, he looked strong. He looked scary. Like I just said, like I said, just a lot of just big strength spots here tonight. This match was far better than I expected it to be, and that's not a complaint, and that's also obviously not a complaint. But it's not meant to be a swing or disrespectful in any way. But it's good to be surprised, especially in a post Mania NXT. We're having call ups occur here, so it's nice to see that NXT has talent starting to rise up and fill those voids being left by folks going north. Yeah, solid main event here. Again, I expected Obafemi to retain, but they put enough doubt. They put enough doubt in your head with this. Not just with the JC Jane win a couple weeks ago, but with Oba, getting the crap kicked out of him in the parking lot prior to the show. But yeah, guys, I think this was a really solid NXT tonight. I think the main event was great. Jasper Troy looks like an absolute beast. I feel that Jasper Troy is actually a pretty good name, as names go. But yeah, I think that's really NXT in a nutshell, and I think that can take us into the NXT jobber of the night. Sad. It's always so sad. The sad horn. And picking a jobber of the night was a little bit difficult here this evening. I say this, I feel pretty regularly during NXT rewinds that everybody really kind of played their part, and they achieved what they were supposed to achieve in terms of what their character needed to do. And I appreciate that NXT does that so regularly that it makes me choosing a jobber of the night difficult. So, as I often am forced to do, I'm going to go with a little storyline kayfabe reasoning here, and I have to give it to Briggs and Inamura. Despite Inamura coming back with so much gusto and so much wind under his wings, they still can't get it done. They can't get those wins. They can't get it on a roll. They can't make it click. It's kind of what Hank and Tank were going through, and it's just sad, and it's a little hard to see. I like I said, I feel for Inamura. He's someone that I think can generate sympathy very, very easily. And I feel bad for the guy. And I think I feel worse because the more I think about it, the more I think I'm right. And his constant apologizing and their constant losing, I think is going to be a catalyst for that Briggs solo heel turn. The second Briggs solo heel turn. And it's going to be sad. It's going to be tears in the audience when he eventually turns on Yoshiki and Inamura. But they are my jobbers of the night, again, as I said, because they just can't get that win. They just can't do it. But from there, folks, we are going to go to a happier, shinier place, the NXT megastar of the night, Happy Horn. So, y'all might have already guessed who I'm going to choose for tonight's megastar of the night. He was one half of the main event combination here this evening, and it is LFG winner Jasper Troy. Again, I don't want to walk back over so many things that I just said a couple minutes ago. but he came across like an absolute future superstar here. He came across strong, scary, and like the real deal. And like I said, there were so many spots tonight that were believable where you thought he might actually do it. And I thought he looked great here. So I look forward. I look forward to seeing what they do with Jasper Troy going forward here on NXT television, and just what kind of stories he can get him in with. I do again, like similar to what I said about Laney Reed, though. I do want to see more character development for him on NXT, because so far what we've learned from him is that he wants to make a splash, and that splash involved attacking Obafemi multiple times, and he got a title shot for his troubles, and looked damn good in that title shot, or in that title match, I should say. So yeah, I do want to see a little more character for him, but they are off to a really, really good start with him, and a really strong start with him. So hats off to his booking so far since winning LFG. But yeah, guys, that's NXT tonight. That's a solid show. A really good time. We learned a lot. We learned, that Mariah May is no longer Mariah May. She's now Blake Monroe. We're all coming to terms with that, I think, slowly. We'll see where people are at with it next week. I also would like to bring to everyone's attention this photograph very quickly. I love these crossovers so much. I don't know what timeline we actually crossed into when they turned on the Large Hadron Collider, but we're in it, and I guess I'm here for the ride, honestly, at this point. But guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the show here tonight. It means so much to us that you guys tune in week in and week out to hear us talk about NXT. But hey, if you enjoyed what you heard here tonight, I want to let you know we're not just here to talk about NXT. No. We are here to talk so much more. We're here Monday nights to talk Monday Night Raw. Obviously, we're here Tuesday nights for NXT. Wednesday nights, you can check out the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship program, which also includes the AEW Rewind. You get 2 shows for one for the same price, which is free. It's $0. Free 99, y'all. 2 shows for the price of one. Free, just like everything else we do. And then Thursday nights, guys, be sure to check out the TNA Impact Rewind. That is, of course, kind of our sister program here at NXT. And then, guys, y'all and guys, we're coming out of my mouth at the same time right there. But y'all, Friday nights, that was made for SmackDown, SmackSound if you like. And then on the weekends, guys, be sure to check out the 3NT crew every single Sunday, breaking down the week of professional wrestling and looking good while they do it. And also, when we're able to, and we're hoping to get back to it very soon here, CJ and I do a little thing called the Weekend Wrestling Roundup with a W. Thank you, Molly. When we can. So hopefully we're going to be back soon with that. But guys, if you could do us a big favor and follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all social media platforms, hit that like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we're going live. I know it's annoying. I know you get tired of hearing it, but it really helps us out a lot. So if you could please follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all platforms, it means a lot to us. And after you do that, just one more. If you could give me a follow over on Facebook, The Pro Wrestling Hipster, I would be much obliged. And at PW Hipster over on Twitter. But guys, thank you so very much for tuning in live. I love y'all. I appreciate it. Dirt Sheet Radio will be live again tomorrow night, so be sure to be there and be part of the conversation. Guys, for Dirt Sheet Radio, from Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua, I'm Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.